afternoon, everyone. This is Meg at Chasing Retro, and today I have a Thrifted Treasures haul to show you. This is a collaboration hosted by Dale at Not Too Shabby Chic, so please check out her channel, and anyone can participate. Just use the hashtag and link back to her. So this is a little haul. I say little. It's not that little. A lot of really fun treasures that I was able to find last week. We went about an hour away. Our next large, I would consider metropolis, is about an hour from us, and so I had heard that they had opened a recycled craft reselling store, which is basically like a thrift store, but just for craft supplies. And I've been wanting to go, and then I heard that they were moving to a larger location, so I kind of waited, and I think they just reopened in the new location 2 weeks ago. So we headed over, and they're still sort of, working out the kinks of moving, and a lot of things weren't priced, but it was amazing, amazing. If you have a recycled craft store near you, I really encourage you to go. It's a great place to find lots of great things, not used at all or barely used at all, and then some vintage items as well at a great price. Excuse my voice today, by the way. Our daughter was at church camp 2 weeks ago, and she came back with this horrible cold that turns into laryngitis, and I have picked it up from her. I have a sore throat, so my voice is not as it normally is, so just bear with me. This is a stack of greeting cards that I found. They had these really cool, I want to say they were a cabinet that you would store blueprints in. But they were just very large flat drawers, and you had to use your whole body weight to pull them out. And each one had categories, and this was just various vintage ephemera. And none of it had prices, so I asked one of the girls working there, can you please give me an idea of how much these cost? And she said, well, everything in this cabinet is between 25 cents and $1. So because most of our other cards are 25 cents that aren't so vintage, I'm gonna go ahead and give you these. I'm gonna honor that price. So I got these for 25 cents. I thought that was great. I wanted to take them all, but I did pick my favorites, and again, I always like to try to leave some for someone else who comes after me who might be just as excited as I am about finding them. So this is a lot of these I think came from the same family, because a lot of them were for a girl that was a granddaughter and a niece. So you'll probably see a lot of the same last names in here. This one is just paper, and it's like a linen paper. And look, they wrote the date on it, 74. So this is an Easter card. I thought it was adorable. The ones that are like this, that are rectangular, I will probably make into journals. I love making single signature journals out of vintage greeting cards. And so that's probably what these will be. And I got a few shaped ones as well, which will just be put into a journal. I love gingham. And this is a very Holly Hobby looking image. So evidently she wrote down what she received from her aunt that year. Look at this adorable little kitty cat. I love red, pink, and orange together. That's one of my favorite combos. Nan and Pop, 77. Beautiful basket of flowers. It's embossed. And this is the same Nana and Papa, I guess, 1981. This one was so unique. I've never seen one like this. And it's sort of a trifold. Is that not so adorable? Yeah, she's writing things that she received at a birthday party. Here's one for a granddaughter. I love that they write the dates on them, because, hardly ever the card companies will put a date. This is another embossed one. And this one had a little gift enclosure inside. Look how cute this is. Lots of red and pink. This one is so groovy. Look at her outfit and her pants. It's also embossed. Look at this. It's like a medieval or Tudor style. It looks like it would do something else, but I don't think it is because look. I thought it was gonna open again, but every single window and door opens. Little parakeet. Is that not the most precious thing ever? I love interactive cards. This is cute and unexpected yellow interior. I love the swan on this one. This is embossed. A lot of embossing on cards back then. Uncle Carl. Here's like a calico kitty. There's a long letter in here. I'll have to read that later. I thought this was so cute too. I love the strawberries. Y'all know I do. Little girl cooking. 1982. And then they had gift wrap for 25 cents each. It was almost all flat wrap. There were some rolls, but I didn't find any vintage rolls. So I picked this one up. Let's see if there's a maker on it. I don't think this one had a maker, but it's not even used and it's so cute. It's sort of a cross between hippie, like Brady Bunch wallpaper, and Scandinavian. And then someone had dropped a load of current catalog brand wrapping paper. So that's what the next few are. This is embossed. I don't know if you can see it. There's like little flowers in a grid shape. And then this is current. It's got little heart flowers on it with vines. I'm guessing these are late 80s, early 90s. I love this. I love it, love it. My room was pink and hunter green when I was in middle school. This reminds me of that. And this was unopened Gibson. Do y'all remember when you used to be able to buy like the gift wrap pack? It had everything. Some of them had a ribbon and it had everything you needed for wrapping a present. And the kitty cats, I just couldn't pass them up. All right, so this is rug canvas. I couldn't remember the name. Looks like somebody had started a hooked rug and given up. This was 50 cents, and I had just told my husband about a week ago, if you ever see any of this at a thrift store, let me know, because I don't want to pay for new, because the project that I want to do is going to completely cover it up, so it doesn't matter how bad of a shape or stained it is. Well, I found this for 50 cents. So I'm going to do a video once I figure out how to make it, because I'd love to do a tutorial, but I'm going to try something called RCF, which is rug canvas fabric. And I read about it in a book called Fabric Leftovers. I got it from the library. And basically she takes very long, thin strips of leftover fabric from projects and she weaves them in and out of these holes. And it doesn't have to be every row because some fabric is going to be a little wider, just as long as you cover the surface area. Then she runs her sewing machine up and down, either in straight lines or free motion or decorative stitches, and it comes out so cool, very boho. And then occasionally she'll go and she'll do couching with like a really cool sequin or some sort of fiber or ribbon, and she just kind of builds up layer by layer, and she would use them as like to make a purse or pot holder or something like that. But I think as long as this is not too inflexible after I'm done, I would love to try a journal cover. So stay tuned for that as I learn this. It will probably be this fall before I get into that, but I love trying new techniques. Stretching my brain. This was on the top shelf flat, and I would have just passed it by had I not stood on my tippy toes and sort of pulled it back toward me and trying to figure out what it was. It was in the office supplies section. These are vintage library posters for a school library. And I could not, okay, 1966. I can't believe the instruction page is still here because these are used. You can tell they had masking tape. So these were probably hanging in a school library at some point. But I thought they would be adorable cut this way and then each one folded. And you can make some really, really fun journal covers. I love this style of artwork. I'll just show y'all. I have to move it around because they're so large. Cook up a book report. The encyclopedia. I think I paid 50 cents for all of these, y'all. Because again, it was not marked a price. So I got up there and she was like, oh, most of our vintage ephemera like this is 50 cents to $1. And I don't know, it just amazes me how some places, if they notice that it's vintage, they'll immediately mark it up like 4 times everything else. But this place, except for sewing notions, I'll get to that in a moment. This place didn't do that, except with sewing notions. I thought their sewing notions were way overpriced. Otherwise, I would have seriously stocked up. I love this pink and purple one. Look at that. Who remembers watching these in class? I think I was like one of the last classes to watch these, and they would get overheated and then the film would start to burn while you were watching it. That was always so scary to me. And then it would start smoking and you'd have to leave the classroom. I remember watching them in sociology. That's the one I remember most, in science. Are these so fun? So evidently this same guy is going through all of these and taking notes and figuring out how to do things using the library. Oh my, this is intense. This one has a hole in the middle, so maybe it was used, somebody used a thumbtack or something. This one's bright. I thought these would also be fun framed. So I probably won't use them all for journals. I thought maybe if I ever get an actual craft room one day, I would frame them like in a poster frame. These would be awesome also in a homeschool classroom. If my kids were still little, I would be doing that as well. My best friend from childhood is a school librarian. I bet she would freak out if she saw this. Okay, so those are the library posters. I don't know how many there are. It says 32. There were not 32 in here. I'm guessing 12. But man, what a cool find. Also in the ephemera area, these are giant, aren't they? I'm going to save these. In the ephemera area, I found this map of, I don't know what it is. It's published by, the only English on here says Maritime Safety Board, Japan. And so there's all these little numbers and symbols. This must be the shoreline. I don't know what any of these things say. There's the scale, but and there's the compass. But so cool. 1957 is the date. Okay, I almost fell on the floor when I saw this, and honestly, I was about to leave and I realized I had not looked at one section. That's where these last 3 items on the desk came from. Carol at Crinkled Path had just recently scored some magazines like this at an estate sale, and I even commented on it and said, I would never be able to find anything like that where I live. And sure enough, a month later, here I am. And I only found one, but it's 1968, and it is a Japanese embroidery guide magazine. I'm not sure, but I mean, just beautiful. Look, there's a embroidery thread label. I mean, just so cool. Super interesting. Here's some people. The ones that she had a lot of people in the pictures. I don't think this one has as many. I would love to find some Japanese fashion magazines at some point, like vintage 70s and 80s maybe. I used to have some Korean fashion magazines that I found at a Korean run store when my dad was in the Army. It was amazing. I don't know why I got rid of those. That I kick myself every day about that, but I mean, look, it's the junk journal. Japanese junk journal. Yeah, I mean, so neat. I guess this would be the cover, and this is the back because that's like the ad. This is the front. And then, look at this, y'all. Talk about unique. Tidal current charts for Long Island Sound. U.S. Department of Commerce. Is there a date? It's definitely vintage. 1973. So these are tidal charts, whatever that is. I have them. And it's got gray, black, and purple ink. So neat. And I think, is this the one? No, it isn't. There is coffee stains on here, which is funny. You know, I don't have to coffee dye them. There was a couple I left behind that looked like someone had spilled an entire cup of coffee on them, but they were starting to mildew, so I did not get those. But these are just so cool. All right, we're gonna keep going, guys. If you're still with me, thank you. In the office supply section, anything that was like this was 25 cents. So to me, a bonus is I get a vintage Kmart price tag, and I also get a product. I love these little, they used to make the little tabbed dividers so sturdy before they started using the clear, you know, vinyl that we use now, which are pretty much indestructible. These would have lasted a long time as well. They almost feel like leather. So an unopened pack of that. I got 2 packs of these. These are engineering forms. University Bookstore price tag. 1983. Just super neat. I didn't have any paper like this. These, I would have gotten more packs of these, but they also, some of them had been torn and they were stained, so I left some of these behind. But these are those little binders that you used to be able to get. I know when my dad was a pastor, he would write his sermon in those little cloth binders that were this size. And this is from Woolworths. I'm gonna have to save this somehow too. But it's already got the little subject things to put in your tabs, so you won't have to write them if these are the classes you're taking. Okay, I got a few things from the Sewing Notions section, but like I said, they were a little pricey. So I tried to get things that I've never, either I didn't have or I very rarely see. So I got 5 packs of Vogue Art transfer patterns. They had a ton of Aunt Martha's, but as you know, it's really hard to tell which Aunt Martha's patterns are vintage and which ones are just reproductions, because they pretty much have not changed their covers for like 50 years, which is great. But for the price, I was like, well, I can get them at Hobby Lobby for not much more than that in better shape. So I did just go with the Vogue Art. I was watching someone recently who made a binder, and they used this envelope as a page, and then you could put stuff in it. I thought that was neat. So I have the fruit, and I have the flowers with baskets, and I have the lace pillowcase trim, and whatever this is called. I don't know if this is, you do the cutouts or just the candle wicking type. I don't know, but I got it for the envelopes, really. Okay, so fabric-wise, all of their fabric, they tried to wrap them in yard pieces or more. You know, what I'm saying is like exact yardage. So their 1 yard rolls were $1.50, and most of it was not vintage. It's mainly quilting fabric. But I found this, and I was like, well, I have to have this for my tropical journals. So I thought it was really fun and unique, and I like the light yellow background. Then they had fat quarters for $1. I think this is a fat quarter. It may be a half a yard, which I think a fat quarter is what, a quarter of a yard? Of course, it's a fat quarter. So the half yards were $1, and the fat quarters were 50 cents. And I actually haven't looked at this yet. I can just tell that it had, I think, oranges on it, but I didn't want to take the tape off in the store. But it's like a batik fabric. Yeah, it's oranges. Again, it'd be cool for a tropical journal or a Florida themed journal if I ever decide to do that. For some reason, I have a lot of Florida ephemera. I don't know why. They had, this is popping open. I'll go through this pretty quickly. They had bags. I think these are quart bags, and they said fill a bag for $2. And they had giant totes, 3 giant Rubbermaid totes full of scraps. And I was like, well, I need to maintain some sort of decorum because I'm in a public place. But I looked around, and everyone else was as excited about everything as I was, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit on the floor. So I did. I grabbed those totes and I pulled them to me, and I just started throwing fabric around, and I would hand something to my husband who didn't have anything to do. He was getting rather bored at that point. So I handed it to him, and he would fold it very neatly and put it in this bag because we wanted to pack it full for our $2. So this is a cute little calico with heart vines. Literally, I would pick up things like this and be like, I can use that. Look at these tiny little quilt hexagons. I grabbed that. This is not vintage, but I love the look of it. So this will be great in a fall journal. I just love that type of floral print, and I love the orange with the teal blue together. If all of these aren't vintage, then there are some very, very convincing vintage replicas in here, because some of these patterns are like, wow. This is not 100% cotton. It has more like a viscose or polyester feel to it, but it reminds me of like a lawn chair in the 60s. So I was so excited about this piece. This is flocked flowers. They're raised on pink gingham. This was a groovy little piece, a weird shaped piece, but again, I can use it. Very boho. Another little quilted looking piece. This looks very 80s. It looks like something that your mom would make a shirt out of in the summer in the 80s. This was just sweet. I just loved the muted tones in this one. This does not feel old at all, but it's just unique. And then this looks both vintage and very fallish. I love that. Here's some more of the gingham. Whenever I came across this, I grabbed more. This little guy, I don't remember grabbing this. He must have been a hitchhiker. This looks vintage. I love this. This also reminds me of like a lawn chair or an umbrella. Isn't that so awesome? Man, the camera is not making it as vivid as it's looking in real life. I hate that. Take my word for it. It is gorgeous. This looks vintage, kind of kitchen looking. This is the only scrap of this in the whole bin, but I grabbed it. And then tiny, this is one of like the Cranston Printworks calicos, but I'd never seen the pink before. Another piece for the tropical journals, like a spray painted pineapple. Look at that. This also looks very 80s to me. Let's see. I want to save the best for last, so hold on a second. I don't want to pull one of these out until the end because it's the one that I literally stood there like, I cannot believe I'm seeing this right now. I'll just take them all out of the bag. Okay. No, I still don't have the right one on the bottom. 1 second. Here it is. Okay. So I already had some of this. This is another Cranston, but I got more because I kind of hoard that print. These are all in beautiful squares. This just looks, I don't know. I just loved it. I cannot leave that there. This looks very 80s to me right here. Another 80s looking one. I could not find one anywhere in the pack that had a heart that wasn't cut, so I got the one that was the least cut. Here's another patchwork piece, well, 2 of them actually. I need to iron all of these because they've been jammed in this bag. Here's some more of the pink. I found a big piece of that. Another vintagey looking one. I don't know that it is. It looks like upholstery fabric, but it's amazing. I got this for my house and another Cranston. I got this for my house and home and hearth, whatever journals that I'll be making. That's also very farmhouse. Another calico. I don't think this one's old, but it's cute. Another tropical one, a little piece of watermelon. Okay, my husband put this in here for me. I think this is relatively new. It's the My Little Ponies, but I know some of the names are the newer ones, but the style of them looks like the ones from the 80s. So, and this is their new logo. So I don't know, I might fussy cut around them for 80s journals because they look very vintage to me. And last but not least, this was one of the quilting squares in the box, y'all. Look, I seriously almost cried when I saw this. Okay, that was my fabric in the bins. They also had a gigantic bin of fabric. Oh wait, I forgot about these. They also had a gigantic bin of fabric, just random sizes, probably offcuts, and they said 25 cents a piece on those. But real quick, these also went in the bag, but I think we had taken them out. I'm just gonna flip through. These are all squares. There's seersucker. Looks like maybe somebody was making a baby quilt. So cute. Love that. So the 25-cent pieces, I got a cantha. I think that's how you say it, cantha. It feels kind of silky, and it's got the threading all the way down. It's got palm trees on it, and it's tied in a knot at the end. I don't know why. And the other end has a fringe. So I thought that was interesting for 25 cents. I got this piece. I thought that would be cute for a cookbook journal. Another piece that looks vintage but probably isn't. This feels like something that you would make a skirt out of, but it just looks like a, you know, a couch print from richer days. And then last but not least is this piece. It's a weird shaped piece, but it's very retro. Okay. Oh, one more piece from the 25-cent bin. I couldn't believe this. This was like a piece of sari. And it has some bling. And it's tied too. And the other end has this, like a raw edge, and beautiful. Let me pull this bag up so I don't have to reach so far. Their rolls of ribbon were 50 cents if they were opened, and this one was. There's a lot on here. I've got so many vintage fabric ribbon now that I'm thinking about doing like a grab bag of vintage cloth ribbon in my shop. If that would be something that would interest some of y'all, let me know. I have acquired several patterns, and I love this 70s patchwork. So the sewing notions were 50 cents or $1 a piece, and I thought that was really high because, you know, we're used to going to estate sales and buying a whole shoebox full of things for $3. But I did get these two just because I had never seen any like this. So I thought that was worth a purchase. And then, oh man, I keep finding fabric down here. This is another, this is like an upholstery fabric that's vintage, and it had the sample tag still on it from 1973. So again, bonus, fabric and a tag. Yeah, we're gonna laugh when you see this. I bought a Rolodex, and it's probably one from the late 80s, but it had some cards in it and the dividers. And I thought, if nothing else, for $1, I could use it to keep my Rolodex cards in it. I can pull them out for crafting. It does not close all the way anymore, but that's fine. This is funny. I needed some thread, and I found this unused. I needed coral, like a peachy coral, and this was 50 cents. So I grabbed that. They had something called a mini bulk area, and these were the bag sizes, and you could fill a bag for $1. So I filled it mainly with buttons. There's one applique in there. I had never seen wooden dominoes anymore, so I put one of those, and there's a Scrabble tile, and the rest of it my son filled up with these knobs. He makes guitar pedals and stuff like that, so these are for him. I did buy this. Is this the only notion that I bought? No. These are two sewing notions that I did buy. Y'all, I'm going to be honest. Part of why I got this is because of the Zare price tag. Did y'all have Zares when you were growing up? I don't know where in the country they were. I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina for part of my childhood. And we shopped here a lot. We went between Zare and Kmart. But I had to have the sticker for my personal journal, but I had never seen ribbon like that so thin. So, and then these were super interesting buttons. I like the card honestly the most, and then it had a pre-printed Kmart key price tag. I got this. This was 50 cents. I think it's unused, but you know what? Someone had already put it around. They had already wrapped it around something to work on it. So I haven't really looked closely at it, but they've obviously somebody started something. But I love this quote. I already have one like this that my mom cross-stitched, but I didn't have any. I guess this is crewel because it's the yarn. I didn't have that in that format. This was 25 cents, and it's like very 80s looking shopping list on the front and an envelope on the back. So I'm assuming that's for coupons. And there are probably 8 in here. These were in the ephemera drawer. So I got all these for 50 cents, and these are from 1969 Western Union Telefax. I don't have anything like this, so I was excited. Index card dividers, nothing fancy. Cool Eckerd price tag. I used to get a lot of my back to school supplies from Eckerd. I love that store. Oh, this is my husband. He found unwrapped audio cassettes for 25 cents a piece, so he bought like 10. This was my splurge item, y'all. It looked like someone had come in and donated all of their Martha Stewart punches. There must have been 40 of them. And so I told myself I was gonna get one, and this is the one I chose. It was $7, and it's a edge or band. I mean, whichever, you can rotate it and do both. And it extends for storage, I guess. I thought that was so cool. So that was probably the highest price item in my whole bag. I got 2 bags of beads. These are very art glass looking. I don't really know what the name of this type of glass is. I know it has a funny name, but I really was hoping that they would also have blue and yellow like this, but they didn't. Evidently someone had already bought them, but I got the red and the green pack. And then last but not least, this was unmarked. It was in a bin with a bunch of wallpaper, none of which was vintage. There were a couple of vintage shelf liners, or like the tacky stuff, but I decided against those, and they were all $1 a piece. So when I found this bag, I was like, I have no idea how much they're gonna charge me. I'll just take it up and see. Well, she said, would $3 be okay with you? And I about fell on the floor. I was like, yes, ma'am. So I got this entire bag of wallpaper borders for $3. Here's some tropical. Isn't that just so neat? Like when you're making something, sometimes things literally just appear that you can use. Here's some fruit. Like, I wonder what application these would be. Like, I don't know, an ice cream shop? A smoothie shop? I don't know that I'd want kiwi in my bathroom. This looks very familiar. I want to say that we had this in our bathroom growing up. I'm going to have to ask my mom. But I love the country blue. And then I have several rolls, or 2 rolls, or 3 rolls of this watermelon. So that's really fun. And then more fruit. I'm probably going to put some of these in my shop, y'all, because there is no way I will use all of this. Even if I live to be 300, I will not use all of this. More watermelon. Watermelon. This is pretty. It's like a peach, and it's textured. So pretty. I'm so glad somebody brought this bag in. Made my day. This is actually the first thing that I found when I walked in the door. And I was like, it's going to be a good day. I love that. Very simple. Maybe I can do a grab bag with just like 1-foot sections of each of these. I don't know. More shells. Some of these make me think of like a dentist office too. I don't know why. More shells. Shells and ivy. Or is that morning glory? Not much of this left. They must have actually used this one. This one is like little apple trees, maybe? This one is just generic, but it's that mauve that was so popular. And last but not least is this adorable calico apple print. Isn't that so cute? 3 green apples and then a apple cut in half. These all smell very interesting. I guess the wallpaper glue over time has an odor to it. It's not terrible, it's just, I don't know. It smells like an old office building. So, that was my repurposed craft store haul. I know it's hard to pick because I can't either, but can you tell me in a comment what was your favorite item or the thing that you were most surprised by? I definitely will be putting some of this in my shop for sharing with you guys. And yeah, I hope all of you have a lovely afternoon. It's good to be back. Took last week off to spend with my family, and it was very needed and very relaxing. Of course, as you can see, I did go shopping, but I didn't produce any content or do anything other than shop and work on a custom journal that I was finishing up. So I'll talk to you in the next video. Have a great one.